Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the Chief Housing Officer for Denver Economic Development and Opportunity, Britta Fisher.
Good morning, and welcome to the 5th Annual Denver Housing Forum. I am Britta Fisher, the Chief Housing Officer for the City and County of Denver. It's my pleasure to welcome so many dedicated individuals to today's event. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule and being here today. I was appointed by Mayor Hancock and started as Chief Housing Officer last summer. It's an honor to serve the residents and neighborhoods of Denver, working to house our residents and to keep them housed. While our affordability challenges are great, you'll soon hear from other speakers, including Marsha Brown and Mayor Hancock, that we are making a difference. The community where I grew up modeled making a difference by caring for our neighbors and for one another through life's struggles. When I came to Denver nearly 20 years ago, it was to help feed hungry people. I worked at Metro Caring, a basic services agency at 18th and Downing. And the participants there quickly taught me that while they appreciated the food, what kept them up at night was where they were going to have their kids do their homework, where they were going to get clean and ready for the day, where they were going to store the food that we had just given them. They were doing everything possible to secure safe and decent housing that their family could afford. Those early lessons from Denver residents really fueled my passions and started me on a career path where I worked with people experiencing homelessness, advocated for affordable housing, provided for financial coaching to help people reach their goals, and worked to strengthen the local community and economy. In my first 10 months here at the city, 2 things that drew me to the job remain true. First off, partnerships are key to housing. Throughout my career, I've seen the importance of partnerships in delivering housing options for our community. Their importance is underscored for me each and every day at City Hall. It takes an incredible roster of organizations, people in this room and beyond, to build and preserve units, to deliver critical services, and to make the dream of home ownership available for more people. A quick look at today's attendee list illustrates the variety of partners that we have here today. We have nonprofit housing organizations, developers, banking groups, lenders, and realtors. Also in the room are elected officials, government staff from HUD, the state and local jurisdictions. And we have housing authorities, higher education, foundations, and many community organization leaders. Housing takes a lot of partners. Secondly, the leadership and political support that we have for housing in Denver today is incredible. It's so rewarding to work for a city that provides such strong support for housing. Our local affordable housing fund is certainly a testament to this. To have a mayor and city council that supported not only the fund, but the doubling of that fund, that's nothing short of amazing. That is something that we've been working on a long time and something we need to recognize. Today, we're fortunate to have many of those leaders here, including from our Denver City Council. We have Debbie Ortega, Robin Knich, Kendra Black, Wayne New, and Rafael Espinoza joining us today, as well as Paul Cashman. So thank you all for your leadership. As I look ahead, I see affordable housing as an important and growing part of our community infrastructure. To meet the challenges of tomorrow, we must continue to innovate, which is today's theme. The environment for tax credits is increasingly constrained and competitive. We need to think about what is beyond the tax credit. As a housing-first city, how do we continue to perform on tried and true financing models with the bond cap that we have, while also working to innovate and find new paths to deliver affordable housing units and supportive services? What does it look like to produce housing that continues to contribute to greater equity? How can we measure the impact of affordability for our residents? And how do we move the needle in producing more deeply affordable units for those at the lowest incomes? As we explore more avenues to make affordable projects viable, I look forward to talking to many of you and hearing your ideas. We have a remarkable day ahead of us with great panelists and topics that I hope will inspire you. As this is a day of innovation, I offer to you that we should challenge our assumptions and take a moment to truly examine the possibilities that lie before us. As you go through the day, if something inspires you, jot it down. And at the end of the day, we'll have a mingling time where I encourage you to share those ideas with one another. And as much as I am excited by those ideas, I know at the end of the day, it's about our ability to come together and act. Doing the work that matters in people's lives matters to me. To kick things off this morning, we have a very special treat with our keynote speaker, Marsha Brown. Marsha Brown understands the value of housing stability. In fact, I feel very privileged to have had our paths intersect. Marsha is my coworker and colleague in the city of Denver. Marsha was a client of Empowered, a financial coaching nonprofit where I was the executive director. And Marsha's story has intersected with many of our partners in this room and even some of our sponsors. Her story affirms that housing and our partners truly make a difference, and that is what we're striving to do here in Denver. We'll also hear an update from the mayor this morning, sharing our latest momentum as we're tackling housing affordability. So before moving to these other speakers, I'd like to take a moment to recognize some of today's sponsors. First off, our hosting sponsor, Wells Fargo. Thank you for generously supporting this. And to our other sponsors, Freddie Mac, our luncheon sponsor, our breakout session sponsors, Colorado Housing and Finance Authority, GHC Housing Partners, and PK Management. Our breakfast sponsors, Denver Urban Renewal Authority, Enterprise Community Partners, Lexton McDermott, Perry Rose, Colorado Health Foundation, and the Denver Metro Fair Housing Center. Please join me in thanking our sponsors. Earlier this week, City Council proclaimed April as Fair Housing Awareness Week. Actually, one of the jobs that I had earlier in my career was Fair Housing Program Manager at the Colorado Coalition for the Homeless. And so I really want to acknowledge our partners at the Denver Metro Fair Housing Center. They are a partner with us in hosting conversations on Monday, April 29th, for residents who are having questions about housing discrimination and any of their concerns. We hope that you'll help us spread the word about this important event, and there's more information available at the center's exhibit table here today. One final piece of housekeeping. We're on social media today, and with the general sessions, use the hashtag Denver Housing Forum. So please take the forum if you're on social media today. All right, I want to give a special shout out to all the staff and city partners and city staff that are here today. It takes lots of dedicated professionals to partner with folks like our next speaker, our sponsor, Wells Fargo. It's my privilege to introduce Keith Lobus. He is Wells Fargo's regional bank president for the Denver division. He manages a team of more than 900 financial service professionals who work with individuals and small business owners to satisfy all of their financial needs and help them succeed financially. Keith's team serves customers through 57 branches across Metro Denver. And very important to Keith is his volunteer service with Habitat for Humanity. Consistently throughout his 22-year career at Wells Fargo, he's worked in lots of markets and always found volunteering with Habitat a great way to meet the people in his community. He serves as a board member for Volunteers of America and Denver Metro Chamber of Commerce. He's a graduate of the California State University, Sacramento, and he and his family have lived in Colorado for the past 8 years. Keith believes passionately in the mission of Habitat and loves to align its values with those of Wells Fargo. It allows him to bring his passion for financial education and wellness into transforming lives and neighborhoods through affordable housing. Please welcome Keith Lobus.
Thank you for having us here today. At Wells Fargo, our mission is to help our customers succeed financially as we actively support our communities, and everyone here knows how instrumental affordable housing is to building communities. Our corporate social responsibility focuses on creating economic empowerment opportunities in underserved communities. As part of that, we strive to help create affordable and sustainable housing for lower and moderate income households throughout Colorado. Most recently, we helped fund and break ground on affordable housing projects, including a $150,000 donation to Habitat for Humanity of Metro Denver for a whole home build in the new Elyria-Swansea neighborhood. The Walnut Street Lofts, located in Denver's Rhino neighborhood, which is a 66 affordable housing apartment unit where we provided $11.7 million in equity and $12.5 million in construction. And at Gateway North and South, which is a mixed income project offering 153 affordable units for tenants making 30 to 60% of AMI, along with 34 market rate units for a total of 187, with a healthy, affordable food market on the ground floor. One of our more prominent programs is our Neighborhood Lift program, which is a collaboration with Neighborhood Works of America and its local network members, Community Resources, and the Housing Development Corporation. Our Neighborhood Lift is the single largest corporate philanthropic effort of its kind in our company's history. In 2017, we made another $4.8 million commitment and expanded Neighborhood Lift for the Denver and Aurora community, specifically in the counties of Denver, Adams, Arapahoe, Douglas, and Jefferson. All of this year, all funds for this Denver and Aurora Lift program have been allocated, creating 221 new homeowners in the area by offering homebuyer education plus matching down payment assistance programs. Nationally, Wells Fargo has doubled our investment in Neighborhood Lift, and we have invested more than $430 million and created 19,000 new homeowners since 2012. Thank you. Creating sustainable communities is extremely important, allowing people to spend less on housing and more on the other necessary living costs while still having access to employment and education. Wells Fargo makes these investments in homeownership because we know the impact of homeownership that it has on the lives of the communities that we serve. When families have a home of their own, they feel more rooted and secure. Their children tend to do better in school and are more likely to graduate and someday own their own home. The family gains pride and dignity. Now I am pleased to introduce our first keynote speaker of the day, Marsha Brown. Currently a program administrator at the Denver Human Services, Ms. Brown has a multifaceted career that allows her to serve the communities that she lives and brings her sharpened skills and experience to help inspire and empower others. Ms. Brown teaches others how to maximize the best of social services, advocacy, financial health, and homeownership. She lives as an example to others, having had experiences that she persevered, including homelessness, the loss of employment. Ms. Brown also serves as a resident commissioner on the Denver Housing Authority Board, an alumni of Warren Village Transitional Housing, and a storyteller for the Close to Home campaign to end homelessness. Please give a warm round of applause and welcome Ms. Marsha Brown, and direct your attention to the screen for a short video.
I've always been one of those people that believe that home is where the heart is. There's no place like home. But what if you're homeless?
The next thing I knew, I got a phone call on a Friday night, and it's the hospital that's calling. So he says, your son is, he's been in a car accident. He's okay. Okay, when people say okay, what does that mean? You know, people say save up for a rainy day. Well, I did. It just rained longer than I had days, right?
So I was living pretty good, and all of a sudden, when the market fell, homes stopped selling. So I got to the point where I was breaking into empty trailers during the winter months just to stay warm. I was embarrassed. I look up and down the street to see if I knew anybody before I ran into a food bank or a soup line. I couldn't get benefits because you got to have an address.
But I was offered a position within the culinary industry as a corporate trainer. So I moved out here expecting to have a job secured. And when I got here, there had been a miscommunication between the management, and the position was given to somebody else. That was devastating. There wasn't any going back. There wasn't anything to go back to.
I mean, at the time I was working at United Airlines. We applied for housing immediately, but application after application, we were either denied or disqualified. The most humiliating part of it, I think, too, was seeing my children go through this. They didn't deserve it. Having to prepare for school was awful. Sometimes when their clothes were wet, they ended up wearing the same thing to school for 2 and 3 days. Homelessness, it's hurtful. It's painful, it's sad and lonely, it's stressful and humiliating. And that's just to name a few.
What can other people do to help those experiencing homelessness? I always say they can ask. Ask the person that's homeless how they became homeless. Don't assume.
Now, anybody in their right mind would have said enough is enough. But being in an abusive relationship, you go back and forth until one day, by the grace of God, he actually left me. And the catch was he left me with all the bills because everything was in my name.
We say, "Ooh, I know that story," but you really don't. You really don't.
I think it's hidden because it's not talked about, you know. It's going to be hidden if we don't talk about it.
It's like I'm an oak table and it's got all these layers of ugly paint on it. And every time I share my story, one of those layers of ugly paint comes off.
We all human. We all brothers and sisters, and we all should stick together.
Seeing people and being involved are the two biggest things I think that people can really start doing to make a difference.
And in this way, we can do it together. We can make a difference together. Because that is what it's going to take. It's going to take all of us participating. And as we do it, we'll see change. But you know what? We've got a lot of work to do.
Wow. That was very impactful. Good morning. Oh my goodness. I know it's close to 8 in the morning, but let's try it one more time. We have to give spirit fingers, that's okay. But at least show me that you're alive with me, standing in this moment, here, in this moment where we all stand together. I'm not alone. You're not alone. And really, it's like the elephant in the room. How many of us know someone or have been homeless? Just a show of hands. Look around you. 5 years ago, you could ask this question and nobody would raise their hand. It'd be very few people that knew of someone that was homeless. And probably because we thought homeless was just the person on the corner. Just the guy that was a veteran or the person that had substance abuse issues. Perhaps. But in real life, I learned a year ago that behind every person you see, there's 8 to 10 homeless people. Now, it can't just be people that we don't know, because we're all human, right? So, good morning. Good morning. Thank you. This morning, I want to share with you, you saw part of my story, but really the story goes a lot deeper than the trigger that started my bout with homelessness. My son was in a car accident, and this has probably been, my goodness, it's 2019, time flies when you're having fun, right? That was 2011, Thanksgiving weekend, when a drunk driver hit the car he was a passenger in. He had severe muscle and nerve damage. I was a small business owner, but really, you know, you take your pause in life. I moved here from Detroit as a single parent, and I wanted better for my kids. I said, you know what? Denver has something to offer. It's beautiful, of course, the mountains. You can't help but love this place. And the people are giving, care, concerned. So we planted our feet here. And I was doing good. I took that time stamp. So I had a good paying job. I decided to, am I too far away? I decided to start a nonprofit to help people in the community. I wanted to be someone that left a legacy. It's not about me per se. It's about all of us. Right? So my legacy was, I'm going to help people, I'm going to help them write grants to build nonprofits in the community, and all will go well. And I'm plugging along. I'm living a good life, my kids is going to a good school, my health was, you know, we get shaky sometimes. But really, at the time of the accident, everything was going great. Everything. I got that call in the middle of Friday night, and I saw the 3 zeros, and my heart stopped. Follow me for a moment. How many of us are parents, first off? Wow, that's 90% of the audience. Even if you have pets, like cats or dogs. My daughter say her dog is her daughter. Thus, I'm a grand puppy mom, but it's a big puppy. So anyway, as a parent, we do whatever it takes, right? You get a phone call and you say, you know what? Where's my kids? Mental check. Where's everybody? And my young man was not home. He was in the car, and it was a devastating time for us. I made it to the hospital some kind of way. I have no idea how I got there. I had not experienced trauma of this sort ever Now, looking back, I suspect we all might have a life challenge or something that sends us into a whirlwind, a dark circle. For me, it was this accident. I shut my business down and I lived out my savings account. With lots of support from the community, from nonprofits, I managed to live about 6-7 months, and then I was homeless. It's time to pay the rent, and there was no money. So you pack up what you can, and you do what you have to. My daughter was in high school, getting ready to graduate, and so we let her stay with some friends. That's one person that was homeless. My son, with the severe muscle and nerve damage, we let him stay with some friends. That's 2 people that's homeless. And then I lived in my car. That's 3 people that's homeless that none of you even knew. You didn't see me on the corner. You didn't see my kids. Just like now, you don't see those kids in schools or the people that's working a full-time job that's sleeping on someone's sofa. What do you do when you're homeless? I wasn't raised to think about homelessness. Not one time did I say, oh, when I become homeless, I'm going to do this magical thing, live out a cardboard box or sleep on the streets. That is not something that most people think about. So now we're forced to think about it because it's staring us in the face. It's there. It's here. It's sitting around the table with you. That is another human being. The reason we get up, the reason we make it through the day is because somewhere inside of us, we need to keep moving. Most of us want to help others, and most of you have. We just got to spread the awareness, right? And the only way to get that out is to talk about it. Talk about solutions. What happens when people are homeless? They're vulnerable. They don't, maybe they know how to ask for help, but asking for help, advocacy, is not a part of being homeless. I didn't know I needed to ask for help initially. After you get out there and you're sleeping in your car, you figure out, you probably want to find something or somebody that helped with homelessness. So for me, it was being resourceful. I finally got down to my last $5 and I thought, where do you sleep at, right? In your car. Yeah, you got a car, but where can you park your car? Can't park on the street. You're not able to park in the parks. I had no idea that when they say the park closed at 10 o'clock, because it's a park, it's not buildings, it's a park. It closed at 10 o'clock, which means they ask you to leave, right? So I took my little $5 and I went to the drive-in theater thinking I could have one night's sleep, right? Well, the drive-in closes at 2. And so I blew my $5. Like, have you ever had some money and you said, I'm gonna go get this one thing, and you get it, and then you find out it really wasn't worth your money? Yeah? We do that a lot, right? With shoes or outfits, or, for men, it's golf or football tickets in the game, and the team loses. You're like, I could have kept my money. So that's how I felt at the drive-in theater, because at 2 o'clock in the morning, I needed to figure out where to go. So finally, I got up that next morning, several mornings, went to Albertsons in the Lowry community, and I was washing up in the bathroom. The folks there knew me because I kept coming back day after day. That was a place I felt comfortable. And I could probably get me at least a banana or something. And I kept thinking, what do you do? So, of course, I took my little truck. I called it a duct tape vehicle. It had more duct tape on it than anything. The windows, one window would let up and the other one wouldn't let down, and one door would open and the other one wouldn't close good, and if you opened it, it may not close back. But I ended up going on a hunt. Heard about Warren Village, went there, asked for an application, and they told me it was a 3 to 6 month waiting list. I thought I was gonna pass out. I literally thought this was something you go, you fill out the application, and I don't know, they just give you a key. But that's not how it works. There's a waiting list. Well, what do you do when you can't rest for 3 to 6 months for peaceful rest? For me, it was like somebody telling me I couldn't eat. You can't have a good meal for 3 to 6 months. Not me. Oh, no. My mama didn't raise no food. Wait a minute, I'm coming. I'm gonna put this application in, and I will be here every day bugging you guys until I get my place. So I would call. Hey, just checking on my application. It's still in the process, it's still in the process. Oh, okay. That's Monday. Call back again Tuesday, different time. Hopefully you get somebody different. But that's what you do, right? When you're seeking shelter. So I'm calling, and then eventually people stop answering the phone. Okay, I see where this is going. I'm coming to knock on the door. Hi, I'm here to check on my application. They're like, she's here now. Yeah, same lady. Yeah, just let them know. Oh, they're processing your application. Okay, well, let them know I'm out here, and I'll wait, because I have nowhere else to be. And I'll wait. Finally, some 30 days later, I got that phone call, and my place was ready. Whew, you have no idea. I gathered my kids, what seemed like across the globe. One was way over here, the other one was way over. We got together, I got that key. Had no idea what to expect, because they don't take you through a walkthrough. You don't get a walkthrough, you get a key. And this apartment was clean, warm. We laid on the floor. We said, we're home. We're home now. From there, I said, okay, we got a place. I need to participate in this program, and it's all about these skill set trainings. And so I met my advocate, Allison Miller, who is still a rock star there. And she met me. I bet you she looked at me and said, boy, this is one tough cookie here. Because the first thing I said was, Allison, I need to go get me a job. I need to go to work. I need to get out of this rut. How are we going to do it? And she said, well, wait a minute. I was ready to go and get a job. Had no idea that I was right in the middle of my crisis. I didn't understand how far into trauma I was until I actually returned to my school. I actually graduated with a bachelor's degree, graduated, and went back to the school for the next class. They were like, excuse me, Marsha, what are you doing here? I was like, I'm here to go to class. They were like, you graduated. So I don't go to class anymore? Like, I couldn't even comprehend that. You mean to tell me I'm done? So what do I do? This is it? Okay, all right. Allison told me, breathe. I said, I am breathing. She said, hey, I need you to sign up for some of these classes. Pick some that's going to interest you. I'm like, girlfriend. She said, financial coaching. I'm like, honey, I just got shelter. I'm not worried about my credit report. Who cares about your credit report? You just got into a shelter, transitional housing. I don't know what my credit score is. It's probably 1. She's like, nobody has a 1. Okay, 2. But literally, she said, trust me. I did not know when you are going through crises, you're so vulnerable that trust doesn't come easy. It doesn't. Trust does not come easy. Shame, yeah, shame comes easy. But what happens when you can actually trust someone? For me, it opened up a whole new life. She said, trust me? I said, okay, I trust you. I'm gonna go to your little financial coaching class. I'm not buying nothing. She's like, Marsha, I don't think they're selling anything. Well, I just want you to know, I'm not buying anything, right? I don't need no IRAs, no Roth funds, no. She's like, just go. And then come back and tell me how it is. All right, I'll go. I go, I meet little Olga. She was my financial coach, young lady. I sat there, I say, hey, for this hour, I don't want nothing, I'm not buying nothing, I don't need no IRAs, no Roth. She was like, where did all this come from? Hi, I'm Olga. I had it all built up. I had it figured out. You are not going to get me to buy a thing. She said, you know, very soft, mild, meek. And at the time, I couldn't stand that, right? Because there was like, why are you talking so soft? You got something to sell? I don't want to buy it. Don't try to take advantage of me. I am guarded. Olga said, hey, first off, I'm here to work with you, not for you. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't have anything to sell. Sure you don't. And I kept my I'm not buying anything eyebrow up. Sure enough, the first 4 months, Olga helped me immensely. She didn't say, why did you do? There was no judgment. She was like, hey, let's send out letters. I'll print them, you mail them. You come back, you tell me we're a partner. And we stayed a partner for about 2 years. I went from a 410 to the first 4 or 6 months, it was a 40 to 50 point jump. I then became the poster kid. Oh, you don't have anything to sell? I'm not buying anything, and this thing works. She said, what's your goal? What's your dream? I'm like, girlfriend, do you not realize you're in transitional housing? What's my dream? Is to get out of transitional housing. She's like, well, yeah, but after you leave here. I don't know, I think I want to buy a house. Oh, good. Well, let's make that happen. This girl is young. She has no idea. She has no idea what it takes to buy a house. Apparently, she's dreaming. But we kept at it. Every 2 weeks, I met her for an hour and a half. And my score jumped. I got educated. I figured out those bad guys are really out to get you. You really got to pay attention. You really got to want to have financial health. I became the poster kid from Empower. Britta can tell you, I was on everything. You're like, Marsha, can you do? Yep, I could tell people that financial health is real. Financial health is real. It does change your life. How do we know? So that was one class. I say, Allison. She's like, Marsha, how'd it go? I'm like, girl, guess what? They didn't have anything to sell. And I wasn't buying anything. Now that we got that out the way, I'm doing well. I say, I'm gonna be the poster kid for Empower Financial. I've gotta tell people, let me go knock on the door. It's 92 units. Let me see. After that, I went to see the financial person, the housing person. They taught me about family self-sufficiency programs and what it means to get into public housing. Had no idea. This wasn't part of my upbringing. I'm not ashamed to say I didn't know. I asked questions. Most people thought I was like an investigator or like from inspections or something like that. Because I was like, okay, so what does that acronym mean? And they'll tell you, because everybody has acronyms, right? I started to apply for public housing, got it. Went to their orientation. They say, hey, we have programs. I'm like, oh, here we go. I am not buying anything. I don't have any money. How dare you come in here to take advantage of people? This was my eyebrow, right? This is my platform. I am not gonna let you take advantage of me at this stage of the game because I am so vulnerable. I got to the program and they said, hey, FSS, you know that financial coach you had? We have that same program here. I connected to two. I had Olga working with my home buyer person in the family self-sufficiency program, and they worked like they had knew each other forever. And the journey continued. I said, my goodness, I need to be a poster kid for this program. You mean to tell me I can put money away by paying rent? I could buy a house? Who thought of that? That must be like, are you guys for real? Where the paperwork at? Very skeptical. Do you know anybody that's skeptical about everything? You're like, boy, just relax. So ideally, I got there, became the poster kid. As you can see, this is actually a poster. One of the things that happened was the FSS program allowed me to build money, save money to purchase a home. My credit score was rising. I actually graduated from the FSS program, and I met my next person on the journey. Renee works as the director over at Denver Housing Authority. She was the ear. And actually, if the picture is up, you can see her in the picture with me. She said, hey, get involved. I said, okay, I'm a believer. I could do this. Just show me, just tell me. And I will tell everybody it works. I graduated. They say, hey, how did you do it? I said, I don't know. I got a job, full-time job, Denver Human Services. Guess what my first job was? Trauma-informed practices. I didn't even know I was going through trauma when I was going through trauma. But then when I started researching trauma, I was like, I was right there. They embraced me. I was an alumni for Warren Village. Still, I was teaching for the last 3 years, or the first 3 years after I left. I was teaching a leadership program. They could not get rid of me. To this day, I tell Ethan all the time, I'm like, dude, you're not gonna ever get rid of me. He's like, we're not trying. Yeah, but I got one eyebrow. It's a little skeptical. You might not let me be the ambassador of Warren Village Alumni Group. And we often see each other at events like this. Why? Because that's in the community. It works. It's building people up. The partnership between Warren Village Empower Financial, Office of Economic Development, which is now that one, and the city. These are city people. What a great city to employ people that actually care, right? So now I'm a graduate, 2 down, several more to go. Come on, let's do it. So Renee told me, I said, girl, you know what? I'm in public housing now. Love it. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath townhouse. I said, all I want is a ceiling fan. She said, well, you can't buy one. I could buy a ceiling fan. I work. I could buy a ceiling fan. She's like, no, you can't put up a ceiling fan in public housing. Where's that rule at? That's that one eyebrow. She said, but you could earn one. I'm like, girlfriend, I don't want to do another program. I'm the poster kid for everything I touch. I am done. She's like, no, but this is the way you could get a ceiling fan. You said you wanted a ceiling fan. What is it? She's like, it's a resident achievement program. Another program, I gotta work, I'm volunteering over here. I'm doing things. I don't wanna be a part of another program. She's like, no, calm down. You can just go and you get credit for the things that you're already doing. For the things I'm already doing? Okay. She gave me the pamphlet, resident achievement. I'm going to go see my program coordinator because that's what you said I had to do. I'm trusting that you're telling me the right thing. Sure enough, I go see the person, and yeah, I'm not an overachiever, really. But come to find out, I had something like 3,000 points, which was unheard of. They were calling people trying to figure out why I had so many points. And the ceiling fan was like 175. And so I was like, I could have been had a ceiling fan. And they gave me a ceiling fan, right? I was like, this works. I'm gonna be the poster kid for the Resident Achievement Program. And Renee said, okay, well, come and tell your story. Come on. And I had my very first video at the Home Buyers Program. Because I'm thinking I'm ready to buy a house. I wasn't ready to buy a house. I wasn't ready. I didn't have no savings. I'm saving. My credit score wasn't high enough. It's getting there. We're working on it. Now you just have to have patience. Man, I was like, what is with this process? You guys think people got time? I'm trying to get out of here. And sure enough, as I worked, I graduated from the Home Buyers Program. I succeeded with my match funding account. I continued to be the poster kid for financial empowerment. And literally, what else is next besides getting out of here? Well, I got trapped. Because just like they say affordable housing, who can afford affordable housing? Right? We often struggle with, what about me? I wasn't 30 to 80% AMI. I was more like 90. I didn't know. I was stuck. Sure enough, being stuck in that market teaches us endurance, persistence, resilience. I wasn't alone. There was lots of people that couldn't afford market rate and didn't qualify for affordable housing. So all this time, I'm working with a lender. And the lender tells me all I could get is FHA loan and $130,000 or thereabouts. The only problem with that is the average house in Denver, because I refuse to live anywhere other than in Denver. Why wouldn't you want to live in the city that you enjoy working at? The average house was like $400,000. What am I going to do with $130,000? This is crazy. So ideally, I found the mayor. I seen him at one of them community events, and I was just like, "Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, I can't get out of public housing." He was like, "What?" Hadn't seen me, didn't know me from a hill of beans. And sure enough, we said, "What do I need to do? You guys got to come up with something." And sure enough, he said, "You know what? We need to work on that." I said, "Yep, I got that one." And I have to see him every time. Now, where is he going to be at next week? Because I need to put that bug back in his ear again and let him know that I am not one of these people that most people think homelessness means lazy, trifling, substance abuse. I didn't have domestic violence, but that wasn't my trigger. It's not about the trigger. It's just simply about being homeless. How you got there, it doesn't matter. It just simply doesn't matter. How did you become homeless? How about what can I do to help you now that you're homeless? And I suspect that's why a lot of you are here now. Because what can I do? What can I learn that's going to help my fellow human being? So the mayor said, next time I seen him, he said, whatever, community something, town hall meeting, something. He gives $15,000 million to housing. He's building. He's doing all that. And I ran across Councilwoman at Large, Robin. I said, "Hey," because when you're persistent, right? But my point was, it's not just me. There's other people that's not persistent, that is still going to work every day and do not have a voice. I said, "Hey, Robin, what are we doing about this whole affordable thing?" She's like, "Call my office. Here's my number. Here's my personal number. Here's everything." Everything aside of her address and where she eats dinner, I had. And I called her office, and I worked with them, and I explained to them how I didn't qualify. Jay, Ben Weta from Empower, Jay from, not Office of Dido, right now, worked with me and heard me, because every time they saw me, that's what I told them. I'm not homeless. I'm living in public housing, and I know I could do better. Sure enough, they said, "It's a grant. You may qualify. Just go down there." Where is it? Because I'm on my way. I got my skates on, right? I am there. I get down to some location I'd never been to, and Wells Fargo is all over the place. I'm like, "Oh, here we go. I am not buying anything. How they gonna send me where the bank is that all they want you to do is open a checking account and a savings account, and I don't need no checking account. I barely got $5. And I met this guy. I called him the Burnster, but his name was Bernie. And he said, "Hey, do you have a lender?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm all set with that. I don't want to buy anything." He's like, "Well, this is the neighborhood lift." I said, "Yeah, all I know is I'm on track. I'm trying to buy a house. The people just told me I ain't got but $130,000, and I could only get a garage with that. The realtor was pushing me to Lyman. Who wants to live in Lyman? I'm just kidding. But when you work downtown, you probably want to be a little closer to work. Sure enough, I qualified. You should have saw how many people I was calling that day. I qualified for the neighborhood lift grant. I graduated from the FSS program with my money for down payment assistance. I got my match funding. Is it just me? Absolutely not. You heard Wells Fargo. Keith said that thousands of people. I'd like to think, because I didn't want to buy anything, people didn't want to sell me anything, that it was a perfect match. So partnerships, true partnerships, from all the nonprofits that helped me till I got to Warren Village, from Warren Village to Empower, where I met Ben Weta and Olga, from there to public housing, Denver Housing Authority. They said, hey, you could be a commissioner. I'm like, put me at the table. I've got some things to help you guys fix. Had no idea what I was getting into, and they exposed me to so much, including seeing other communities in other states and thinking, oh my God, I'm so grateful that we have the housing that we have. Because until you see different, you don't know. As a commissioner, they sent me to all the little education classes you could go to, and I had participated and got certificates for all of them. And I'm so thankful, because through that, the support from the mayor's office, the help from Robin's office, the kind words of encouragement from all of the other folks that I came in contact with. People encouraged me along the way, but more than just words, I got that hand up, as Sharon so elegantly put. Inspirational, I'm only trying to be. Empowering, I keep at it. And now I have a platform to say, you're not alone. There's lots of people that have been homeless that reside in me, reside in you. That's why we get up every day. We keep coming to work. Although sometimes the printer don't work, sometimes the copier is backed up and you got to start all over again. You just keep at it. You keep coming back to be more innovative. I'd like to think it's to resolve homelessness. It's to help build programs and work together and partnerships for somebody like me, for somebody like you guys, because we're all in it together. We stand together. Inside the city and county of Denver lies hope, encouragement, where people can embrace people. And I know somebody that leads that vision. I know the mayor, Michael Hancock. From the first day I met him, I said, hey, what about me? And he said, I hear you. The team said, I hear you. We're working on it. The partnerships, all the various nonprofits and partnerships here, they work together for us. This guy said, you know what? He was at Warren Village, I think, a couple of weeks ago at our alumni meeting to just hear the ladies speak. What's the concern? After you leave Warren Village, I cried like a brand new baby because the carpet was removed from under you. I mean, really, you have an advocate on the first floor, you got childcare in the lower level, you have your programs across the street. They partner with Community College of Denver. He said, I need to hear the people. Over the last 4, 5, 6 years, I have come to truly respect, admire, and look at the growth of the city. We went from a little tinsel town, you could walk through downtown on a Sunday and not have any traffic. Now you got to figure out what public transportation to take. But I'm just grateful that I have my EcoPass and I'm able to ride whatever I want to. But I want to really, really just let you guys know, I'm so thankful, honored to be here. And if nothing else, this platform, what you just heard, I hope that it inspires you, it empowers you to do more than you did yesterday. And now I want to introduce Mayor Michael Hancock.
You rocked it. Well done. Well done. Good morning, good morning. Let's celebrate Marsha Brown one more time, y'all. Come on. She is such an inspiration to me and so many people. I've shared a stage with her. She just talked about Warren Village where we sat around the table. I have shared her story so many times. And just to hear people sit and watch them kind of imagine the challenges, the triumphs that she's had to go through, to get where she is today. You know, I just think sometimes people come in your life to remind you why you're here and what your why is, your purpose is of everything that we do. And Marsha Brown, I believe, is my why. Thank you, Marsha, again, for your story. She talked about the adversity that she triumphed over. It's a adversity that many of our families in Denver have faced, and adversity my own family has faced when I was growing up in Northeast Denver. When she and I sat around the table recently at Warren Village, she talked about the alumni. One person, all of them told me stories that really, truly moved me. But there was one story in particular that made me almost jump out of my skin and say, yeah, that's the story right there. And Marsha, you might remember Jessie, who said that she came here fleeing a domestic violence situation. And just follow the chain of her story. She said, I went to Roseandom. And those of you who don't know, Roseandom is a one-stop center for those who are suffering or are being abused, involved in a domestic violence situation. And she said, Roseandom Center saved my life. And she said, and then I, of course, ended up at Warren Village. And then the first affordable housing facility that I ended up in was One Boulevard. And while I was at One Boulevard, something happened that interrupted my ability to make rent for a month. And so I called the city, and I was taken care of through the TRUA program. And just listening to Jessie, who didn't know my role, our efforts around every one of those programs, I was ready to just jump for joy because it was Jessie who put in context everything we've worked on for the last 8 years as a safety net for our neighbors. I said, Jesse, you don't know it or not, you don't know this, but for 13 years, I worked to help establish the Rosandom Center. One Boulevard was one of the very first affordable housing projects that the city's housing funds invested in. And the TRUA program, just 2 years old, it's one of our very first initiatives to help make sure that those who are in housing stay in housing. You just demonstrated to me, you are a walking example that indeed what we're doing, our safety net is working. Thank you, Jesse. You know, I want to thank all of you for being here. I see members of our city council here. Thank you very much as well. I see members of the administration, all of our partners who are here in this room. Thank you all for being here today. The reason why we started this important gathering 5 years ago, the reason we are committed to keeping it an annual event is to maintain a focus on helping other Denver residents triumph over adversity, as we have learned from Marsha, we learned from the story of Jesse. It takes a focus and a concerted effort, including government, nonprofits, and many other stakeholders. It means delving into the housing issues and examining the approaches to help house our community today and into the future. It takes collaboration and a willingness to take risks, measure success, and identify obstacles. Creating more affordable housing, preserving affordability and housing quality, promoting equitable and accessible housing options, and stabilizing residents at risk of involuntary displacement. And it takes a community response. It was a community response that helped us create the city's first ever dedicated affordable housing fund, and then double it last year. It's been a community response that helped us expand our approach to not just building units, but also moving on ADUs, emergency rental, utility, and mortgage assistance, locking in affordability for 60 years, and height incentives at places like 38th and Blake and River Mile. And I'm especially proud of the community response to serving our residents who have no home at all, because it has helped us move more than 7,500 individuals and families out of homelessness, improve our outreach and connections to critical services, create a nationally recognized work program, and so much more. This is on top of more than 6,000 affordable homes that have been built or preserved over the last 8 years. And we've got 1,273 more city-supported units under construction right now, and another 843 ready to break ground in neighborhoods across the city. Numbers and programs are great, but it's the stories of the people like Marsha Brown and like Jesse we serve, and how those numbers translate into changing lives that really matters. Like Araceli Guerrero Ramos. She has lived in Hilaria Swansea with her husband and 3 kids for the past 11 years, and I just met her. She's going to be a homeowner soon, thanks to 32 Habitat for Humanity homes being built right now at 44th and Columbine. We're proud to be a partner with Habitat and Humanity at that site. And stories like that of Monica Gallegos in Westwood, who had an emergency surgery and missed 2 months of work last year. Our emergency rental assistance helped stabilize her situation until she could get back to work as a dental assistant. It's taken a community response. It's taken some of the best minds in the metro area coming together in one room like this today to forge solutions that transform lives. These are the fundamental building blocks for a more equitable city, a city that's welcoming and pushes forward on bold and progressive ideas. And we remain open to those ideas. That's why you're here today. We are driven by the simple conviction that anyone who chooses to call Denver home should be able to access safe, affordable, and decent housing. Today, after a year of intense analysis, identifying stable funding sources and internal effort, we're ready to take another step in addressing the need for more affordable housing and better services for those experiencing homelessness in our city. This administration was the first to begin allocating funds from the city's budget to support affordable housing. Now, our funding outpaces even that of the state of Colorado. In 2017, we announced the creation of a coordinating entity we call the Office of Hope. This was an important experiment that helped identify the elements of what we should think of as a pipeline of housing need and affordability in our city, linking everything from homelessness, transitional housing, affordable housing, and workforce development. We've worked to fortify our housing division's resources, finances, and personnel, and new leadership structure under the Chief Housing Officer. Under Denver's Road Home, we're better connected and elevated coordination of a multitude of programs deployed by various city agencies to support those experiencing homelessness. And for the past 18 months, we have taken a deep dive into the structure of our housing and homelessness programs to better align them with needs of the people we serve. The challenges we face in these areas are not unique to our city, and they are not unique to the times of economic hardship or historic prosperity. Just like zoning, planning, street paving, police and fire protection, what we do around housing and homelessness should be, must be, a core city service. It needs, yes, it needs the structure within city government to bring all the necessary resources to bear to tackle the challenges our residents in need are facing. And so today I'm proud to announce that we are proposing to combine the city's housing and homelessness services into a new department, the Department of Housing and Homelessness. By bringing these two agencies together under one roof, we will connect our full spectrum of services from housing for those experiencing homelessness to affordable home ownership and everything in between, while aligning and leveraging our resources. We want a lot of community engagement as we set this up. And we're going to start with everyone here today because I know you want to see a successful transition of these critical services into our own department. We have designed a quick 3-question survey seeking input of our future housing and homelessness department. We're going to email it to everyone after the forum. And I invite each of you to share your thoughts and ideas. This is the first of many opportunities to share input over the next several months as we shape the implementation plan and take steps to launch the department in 2020. Now, I look forward to working with you as we journey toward a structure that supports improved outcomes in our city. Now, we're not done. I have one other announcement I want to share with you. My administration is committed to creating a strategic plan across housing and homelessness, which will help ensure that our housing plan and shelter plans, which are already underway, are fully able to maximize resources and services to support those who are at risk of or have experienced homelessness. So while this new structure is being set up, we're not going to take our foot off the gas on either of these issues, especially for our residents experiencing homelessness. Today, we're kicking off a $15.7 million initiative that will be leveraged by the city in partnership with our business, nonprofit, and philanthropic communities over the next 3 years to bolster 2 critical homelessness services. $5 million will go to support 400 bridge housing vouchers over the next 2 years to help our hardest to shelter residents exit the streets. And $10.7 million will be focused on expanding options for day shelter in partnership with our large and small providers to bring people indoors during the daytime and help them exit the streets through increased management and supportive services. We've got some more good news. This morning, we received word that our first partner has made a commitment. The Anschutz Foundation has agreed to join us in this effort and has committed $1 million. Thank you, Ann Schutz. And while I can park for just a moment, a great city cares for her people. And while we may not always agree on how we arrive at that destination to support our most vulnerable, the one thing I can tell you that I'm very proud of is that this city has never stopped trying to reach our most vulnerable. And whether they are on the sidewalk in Ballpark, or in their car in 5 Points, or in open space along Pena Boulevard, every resident in this city matters. Our goal is not to sweep people. Our goal is always to connect people directly with services, to try to stabilize their situation. And the team at City Hall, while constantly having criticism lodged at them, has never left the laboratory in trying to find and seek ways in how we can help our most vulnerable in our city. Those who are housed and at risk of homelessness, and those who are on our streets without a roof over their heads. And this effort today that I just announced is an opportunity, has been driven also by an opportunity of the philanthropic community and the private sector to say, while we may not agree on Initiative 300, what we can agree on is that we need to do more. And we can do more. And so I'm honored that the Ann Schutz Foundation has stepped forward. Many others have reached out and said, how can we do more? And we're going to cultivate those relationships. But I want everyone to know that this city is prepared and ready to continue to stand up and stand in the gap for those who are most vulnerable and do everything we can to house those who are unhoused and to make sure those who are housed remain housed in this great city. Before I leave, I want to acknowledge our sponsors. We have many sponsors who helped make today possible. They're listed in the event program. They have helped to make today possible. I want to thank a very special sponsor for hosting this event, Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo, thank you very much. Would you join me also in thanking the Planning Committee, volunteers and exhibitors, the Denver Office of Economic Development and Opportunity under the leadership of Eric Haraga, our Chief Housing Director, Britta Fisher, and the team. Give them a round of applause. I want to thank Denver's Road Home under the leadership of Chris Connor and his team, and each of you, again, for committing your time and your efforts and for being our partner. This is an opportunity for us to go to work. We're ready to go. Thank you all for being here. Let's get to work. God bless you.